Dear students, welcome to the Medical Genetic course. By the end of this video, you are expected to define genetic counseling, identify the role of genetic counselor in clinical practice, illustrate the genetic pedigree and its uses in genetic counseling, know the indication of genetic counseling. Genetic counseling is the process of helping people understand and adopt through medical, psychological, and familial implication of genetic contributions to disease. When patients ask for genetic counseling, could be before a pregnancy project to estimate the risk of transmitting the disease in the family and to estimate the risk of developing the disease. Before marriage, a premarital genetic counseling also is provided. Genetic counseling is offered prenatally, in pediatrics, and in adults. There are steps in genetic counseling. First, to establish genetic diagnosis, to know the mode of inheritance or to estimate it if it's unknown, calculate the risk, discuss options with the family, and provide the long-term communication and support. To establish genetic diagnosis, geneticists take a detailed personal and family history, observe any kind of dysmorphology in the patient or their parents. If any kind of dysmorphology was observed, we should take their permission for a photo, profile, and face to discuss the case with other geneticists and for long-term evaluation. Family tree. It's an important tool in genetics used to trace the inheritance of traits. This diagram shows the occurrence and the appearance of the phenotype in particular gene. In genetics, to draw a family tree, we use the pedigree chart. It's an easy, readable chart with some symbols to show the presence or the absence of a trait within a family across generations. To establish genetic diagnosis, we offer multiple tests. Could be molecular biology, molecular cytogenetic, or classic cytogenetic technique. In genetics, we offer clinical and molecular diagnosis, pre-symptomatic diagnosis, prenatal diagnosis, and pre-implantation diagnosis. An essential rule in genetics is to estimate the mode of inheritance. We have two major types, conventional and non-conventional. Sometimes it can be very clear from the pedigree information which kind of inheritance we have, while sometimes it could be more complicated, and we should wait to interpret genetic tests. In unconventional mode of inheritance, we have autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive, and X-linked recessive and dominant. In unconventional mode of inheritance, first we will talk about mitochondrial inheritance. It's a special way of inheritance. Only mother can give her mitochondrial DNA to her descendants. The second unconventional is chromosomal aberration. Chromosomal aberration can be insertion, deletion, duplication, and translocations. In genetic counseling, we should calculate the risk. Sometimes it can be straightforward if we have precise diagnosis, and it will be easy if the mode of inheritance detected. We should inform the patient about a minimal risk of germinal mosaicism in the dominant form. Here is a list of references for who's interested to read more before the lecture. At the end of this video, we have talked about the definition of genetic counseling, the role of genetic counselor in genetic practice, the genetic pedigree and its uses in genetic counseling, the indication for genetic counseling.